So recently, if you follow me on Instagram or you've been reading my blog, then you'll know that the 4-month sleep regression hit us pretty hard. Theo was a really good sleeper. We were really lucky from very early on that he only woke up a few times in the night for feeds, maybe 3 or 4 at first, and then that went down to twice a night for quite a while. And then eventually, when he was about 3 months old, he started sleeping through, which was wonderful. But then 4 months came, reflux came, and the hot weather all at once. So I don't know whether it was one of those things or a combination of all of them, but things got pretty bad for a little while. So with the reflux particularly, I think there were nights where I had less than 2 hours sleep, and he was absolutely screaming and wouldn't be put down. This rocking that he's doing, this is his new thing, like a little mental patient, just rocking back and forth. So I decided after a bit, he'd completely forgotten how to self-settle. We were leaving him, putting him down in his cot, walking out the room, and he'd go to sleep, and he completely stopped being able to do that. In the day, he would only nap in his cot. No, sorry, that's not true. He would only nap in his pram. And I'd spend, it was getting to the point where I was spending 20 minutes stood in here rocking him to sleep, because if I took him out, he would fall asleep, but he woke up as soon as we got home. So yeah, so there was no good in that, because I couldn't get anything done. Might as well just stay here and do it, because he stayed asleep for longer, and it meant I could, at least have a little bit of a break and a bit of time to myself. So I decided, after all of this, that I was going to stay in the house for a week, not make any plans, not go anywhere, so that I could get him into a routine, into a napping routine, because, everything you read says that nighttime sleep and naps are really closely linked. Oh, yeah. So, what we did, I wonder if I can sit you here, or you'll be good if we sit you down. You play with them, yeah. So what we did was started off with one routine, which was 4 naps a day, so 4 sort of hour-long naps. He'd be awake for about an hour and a half in between each one, and that was quite good for a start, because it meant that there was lots of opportunities to settle him. So obviously that would be 5 a day, 4 naps and bedtime. We learned, straight away really, the day before I started the routine, I learned patting and shushing was a really good way to get him to sleep. So lie him in his cot, pat him on the chest and just shush, shh, shh, shh. Originally, obviously, that was taking quite a while, but he sucks his thumb, so eventually you noticed if he started shushing, his thumb went straight to his mouth. So within a few days, I'd really seen good progress with that. He was settling a lot quicker. To be honest, on the first day, he slept in his cot for all of his naps, which was more than he'd slept in his cot for naps his entire life. So, that was a win. Originally, his naps were only short and he was waking up a lot, but he does sleep now. Varying lengths of time. Usually up to an hour and a half he'll sleep in one go without waking up. Usually about 50 minutes. But 4 naps a day just wasn't practical for anybody. Only being able to be out of the house for an hour and a half at a time, and stick it, half sort of an hour isn't really enough to get things that you want to do done. So after a few days and, seeing the progress, we moved to 3 naps a day. So he has a morning nap 2 hours after he gets up. 2 hours after that nap, he has up to a 2-hour lunchtime nap. Now, we've not quite cracked that yet. He does this really awful thing where he wakes up absolutely screaming in the middle of his naps. So he is not a screamy baby. He shouts and tells you if he's annoyed, but he doesn't cry and scream a lot. And he wakes up in the middle of this nap absolutely screaming and crying, tears. But what I realised early on is if I went into the room, it would take a lot longer to settle him. Sometimes it wasn't even possible to settle him. Then if I left him for 2 minutes, he would go back to sleep. I'm not in any way advocating cry it out, but what I did, because going in made him more upset, it was actually the lesser of two evils, and he gets a longer nap. I set a timer. As soon as he starts crying, I set a timer, and if he cries more than 2 minutes, I go in. But usually between 45 seconds and a minute and a half, he's back to sleep. It's really strange. If anyone knows why he might be doing it, please let me know. Because he doesn't do it in the night. If he wakes up in the night, he grunts or sings to himself or trumps. Just in the day, it's very strange, and I don't like it. So he has the 2 hour lunchtime, up to 2 hour lunchtime nap, and then he has a 45-minute nap in the afternoon at about 4:15, and then he goes to bed at 7 o'clock. So we are doing well with self-settling. We have a routine, which is when we go for nap time, we go and change his nappy, put his sleep monitor on, put him in his sleeping bag, and then we take him into the bedroom, and I say it's nap time now as I'm walking through. Pop him in the cot. We've got a bunny that I give to him, which I slept with for 2 nights before I introduced it, and he cuddles and plays with the bunny. And then I've got my hummy, so we put the my hummy on. He's always slept with white noise. Put the my hummy on, and then I say, sleep well baby, mummy loves you, and then I leave the room, and then he goes to sleep, which is fab. Now I'm not saying he doesn't ever make any noise. If he does, on the rare occasions that he does start crying, I'll go back in if it's proper crying. Sometimes he does some protest shouts for about 20 seconds where he's just like, I'm fed up and I'm tired, but I don't want to be here. So I can tell the difference between those. But most of the time, he's quite happy in there playing with the bunny, and then he rolls onto his side and goes to sleep. And then at night time, that's just mixed up slightly by when we go into the bedroom, I sit him on my knee on the bed and read him the story, and then I sing Twinkle Twinkle to him, and then put him in his cot and do the same thing. So all of that does seem to be working. So he still is waking up in the night. He wakes up usually 2 or 3 times. We do have, stop bouncing. Sometimes he does wake up when he's not hungry. Obviously you can tell that by how close it was to his last feed. And then he will grunt for a bit and settle himself back to sleep, or usually does a trump and then goes back to sleep immediately. But he can be awake for 5 or 10 minutes at that point. He's still in our room. So I'm hoping, what he did the night before, a couple of nights ago, he did only wake up once. So I'm hoping that as we continue the routine, it's going to get a lot better. I have got a couple of posts on the blog about Theo's sleep, about the regression and my sort of breaking point. And then the first week of us trying the routine, I kept a sleep diary, so it's literally every nap, the times, what I did, when he woke up. So all the detail of that's there if you want to go through it. And then I'm going to post the second instalment of that this week, so keep an eye out there. I would love to hear from you on this topic. If you have any tips for me, if you have any questions, I'll do my best to answer them. Please leave me a comment below, and I will see you soon. Thanks for watching.